Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name as always is Chris Orme, and today we're taking a look at the end of season for the Arsenal save, gunning for glory, and as you can see, we fell short of winning the title once more. Arsenal sitting there in second place, and yeah, I'm disappointed really that we didn't get closer to Man City. The game that we lost to them was a real turning point. That's almost 6 points, as you know. So yeah, we win instead of they win. We're up to 81, they're down to 83, and that means one result could have changed everything. We did have the best goal difference, we had a pretty good record, and we just snuck ahead of Man United at the end. You can see some of the things here. Laporte with some yellows, Pogba with a red. That's not bad over a course of a season. Not too much to complain about there. We did finish strongly, as you can see, really pushing through, but couldn't catch Man City. Bellerin, great player at right back for us. He was a big star of this team. And so young, so capable as well. Good assist total and good man of the match awards. Pogba actually got the passing up when we played him as an advanced playmaker rather than a deep line playmaker. Allowed him to play his best football, and he did well. And captain fantastic, highest average rating and 34 goals for Alexis Sanchez, who quite frankly, should have been a lot, should have been a lot better last season, but he did enough last season. I think he was okay last season. This season he stepped up, and really the rest of the team let him down in places. So we're going to have a look now at the last few games. So I believe the Man City game, the 2-1 loss, was the game that we had. 4-1 up against PSG. Actually lost 3-0 with a last minute almost own goal. 85 and 80 minutes there. The comeback was real. And we had a disallowed goal actually just before the Angel Di Maria with, it wasn't quite the first one. The first thing, they pinged the ball out to the halfway line and it went for a throw-in. And then I think it was about 1 minute or so, we actually threw the ball in, had a shot from distance, which went in, but the striker was apparently offside or something, and I don't know. It shouldn't have been offside, basically. We should have got a goal. We probably should have gone through, but I thought we were going to anyway. Ultimately, we did not play well enough, and that's the big thing. We were under siege from about 70 minutes onwards, and, a couple of good goals from them, fair play. A little bit of pinball for the Mamana goal, the own goal, but it's neither here or there. We didn't do enough to get the win, and that kind of hurt. On the back of that loss to Man City with the Crystal Palace loss, I just didn't feel that things are going well in this period. Next game up was a Man City loss, and once again I'm trying to switch things round, and it kind of worked apart from the fact that Kuki had a really bad game up front. But on the back of Luis Enrique doing nothing, and again here Lukaku doing nothing off the bench, Kuki having that great game in the FA Cup, and who do we go up front with here? Luis Enrique again. I mean, I needed to make that sort of change, and it didn't quite work for us. Luckily though, we get our way against Aston Villa there. You can see some late substitutions, trying to really manage fitness for that game, and because I knew we had a tough run coming up. So good to see Alexis Sanchez there. Callum Chambers at right back, deputising, had a great game. He kind of stepped up towards the end of the season, to be fair. Then we got a couple of goals here. You can see that our bench again coming into play quite well. So happy that we managed to get that win. A 0-0 draw with Liverpool. I thought we did enough for a win. See, the fullbacks were absolutely fantastic, shutting down the white players for Liverpool, and actually managed to get a lot of crosses into the box. And I felt that that was a game that we probably should have won. as well as the Crystal Palace game, and we should have been more competitive if we wanted to win the league against Man City. So those games are kind of what I boil the loss of title down to. The Chelsea game, once again, using the full complement of subs, which is something I normally don't do. But you can see Isco, Luis Enrique, they did not play well. We really got pegged back, and kind of a physical game from Chelsea. They did knock us about a bit. And, you know, a few changes had to be made here against Brighton. And again, Kuki comes up big against West Ham. We're playing quite well. Alexis Sanchez goes up front for this one because Kuki was a little tired and I didn't trust Enrique. But again, he comes out and does the business, and we're using our bench. You can see absolutely fantastic performance there. And we should have been 2-0 up early on, but we weren't quite. Then Winston Reid got sent off. We got the second fairly soon after, just 9 minutes after that. And then 2 late goals where finally they got tired enough that they couldn't just park the bus on us. And Odegaard, Goetze, and also Callum Chambers, because Bellerin had run himself into the ground at that point. The Spurs game, nice to get a win. Took to the last minute. I thought we were in control of the game quite well. But once again, you know, the striker's not really helping us out too much here. And it falls to the attacking midfielders to really step up there. Last minute goal, winning it for us. Another good little win. Enrique scored, but he actually played pretty badly, missed a hatful of chances, and his lack of form compared to last year really did let us down. And I was counting on him to be better. I dropped Lukaku for this goal machine, and the goal machine dried up, and I went back to Lukaku, and, you know, taking him out of the lineup had really affected his play. So I'm a bit disappointed there. I'm disappointed in my choices. I should have stuck with Lukaku and slowly introduced Luis Enrique. And the final game of the season, what a nail-biter this was. What a nail-biter. They scored early, we scored, they scored. We got an own goal to peg them back for half-time. Then we grabbed a goal. I thought the game winner was going to be Mesut Ozil's, which it was. And then Josh Murphy a minute later, and heart attacks all the way through. We missed so many chances at the end of this game, so many set pieces. The defence didn't cover themselves in glory. I think Mamana was a bad option this season. I think he would have been ready next year. Maybe should have bought someone better than him who could have performed. Enrique had a great game this one though. He really did set up, I think, at least 3 of these 4 goals. No, at least 2. I'm not sure if he actually got 3, but he got at least 2. And, yeah, if we'd had that, Luis Enrique, in some of these games, we'd probably have a much better chance of being in the Champions League and winning the league. Maybe even getting far in the FA Cup. So, really dodgy period where strikers weren't performing well. And that kind of hurts. It does kind of hurt. If we go onto the squad, and I'm still set up from last things, but into the under-18s, we can see potentially there's a couple of nice players there. Rosa's left back, Wagstaff as well. He could be decent. Elliott, Searle, I like those. You know, the rest of them maybe not working up, but good competent backups if we can get them to 3 stars. So really, the strength in depth I was happy with in the youth. The reserve team, I mean, we had Herrera in case we needed to get rid of Bellerin. You know, long term, we had striking options in Todoric and Randy Koch, who were amazing. The midfield options, Stevens, Bustamante, Gauchinho, Cottrell, and Daniel Winters, I think is a fantastic setup to go with. And that could have been really, really big for us over the next 5 or so years. Pat Jones, a beast at the back as well there, alongside Herrera. Maybe Mamana, or probably more likely Laporte alongside him for the long-term future. I think would have worked out quite well. Down to the potential 4 stars. Another midfielder in Condell. Then we got Müller and White. Hansen, another striker there. So we've got 3 real quality strikers maybe. Stevens for depth and more midfielders. McAllis is another striker. Then down into Fridge and McKenna. So, we're really getting some good depth, and then a couple of fullbacks as possible 3 stars, some more left backs there. So I felt that the weaknesses in the team were well covered, and our strong points were only going to get better. The main issue really would have been goalkeeper. There wasn't anyone to challenge, Donnarumma at all, and that's kind of the bad thing. We did have Sterling Maguire, who could play backup to Donnarumma, and that was kind of what I was counting on for the third lots of strikers, but ultimately we would have probably needed a better number 2 goalkeeper to compete with Donnarumma. This team, Amos was a backup for this season, maybe next season. Strootman, the same there. They did what I wanted them to do, which was very little, but, it's just enough to take the edge off at the end of the season. And I think that's why we came back into the season, towards the end, after that difficult run where we had the Champions League in between the 2 Man City games. We faltered a little bit, the draw with Liverpool, the loss to Chelsea, but then these reinforcements really made us a lot fitter and a lot stronger down the home stretch. And if Man City had taken their foot off the gas at any point, I do feel that we made the right signings to put an issue, on their claim for the championship. So I'm happy I made the deals. I don't think I made the right deals sometimes, and that's a little bit of an issue. Mamana, like I say, probably wasn't ready. Could have just used Callum Chambers in the same role. So, probably should have done better there. In fact, Chambers had a much better season in limited use than Mamana did week in, week out. Lukaku, we did drop him. He wasn't happy. He did get some goals, but nowhere near what I was expecting from him, so I never really promoted him back into that lead striker role. Good season from Enrique, but it doesn't compare. You might think that I'm being salty in not, in not really rating this season too much, but I feel he was very hit and miss, and this is the period where we were against all those tough teams. Man City, PSG, was unfit for the Man City game, the Chelsea game, the Liverpool game, the real title deciders, 6-7, 6-5, 6-8, 6-8. I mean, that really ruined us a little bit, and that was an FA Cup game, that Man City game, so, resting him there isn't a bad one. He has a couple of decent games, grabs a goal, has a great game, no goals. We've got to go all the way back to the first leg against PSG to find where he actually played well and scored. The game before that hat-trick, but then 6.3 against Swansea. I mean, a great season from him, no doubt, but ultimately, I was expecting more, and that's probably on me. I shouldn't have expected so much from him in his first season, and but yeah, I really wanted more out of him. Tielemans, bad buy, just no room in the team. I was looking at him to replace Fred, and ultimately, Fred turned out to be an absolute gem, someone I've never really rated before, but now I really do think he did well. George was a great pickup. He was suggested by someone in chat about, a left back we should look at, and George, he was the right man there. Even though we had a good left back in Rodriguez, George turned out to be an absolute star for us. Not quite as much as a star as Bellerin, but, with those two at fullback, that's the position solved for a long time, especially with 3 good young potential left backs as well coming through that we looked at, and Herrera, the Argentinian right back, coming through, who's like a 5-star potential. That position, both those positions were really solved for the foreseeable future. So really happy there with Bellerin, one of my superstars, to be honest with you. Great number of assists, great man of the matches, great average ratings, and just solid, dependable. He's upset. I knew this was going to be my final season, so I didn't offer him a new contract, and he's upset. Some players are upset by that. But if it wasn't my last season, I would be offering him, 125,000 a week maybe. 5-year deal. And then when he gets to 28, I might be looking to lock up 150 to 200,000 pounds a week to keep him at the club. So, absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Laporte, good, but not game-changing. I mean, I had Kurt Zouma in a save. He was game-changing. I've had... Who else have I had? Rafael Varane, he was game-changing. Umtiti not so much. Laporte a step up from Umtiti, but probably the third of the four centre-backs from France that are highly rated. So I think he was a good signing, but with Mamana alongside, he was not the force that I was hoping for. With Koscielny alongside, he was, a lot of pressure was taken off him and he could perform better. So made a mistake there replacing Koscielny. Rodriguez, great player. I like the way George played more, his role, etc., and his age, so that kind of counted against Rodriguez. He did nothing wrong, though. Absolutely fantastic player for the club. Not my signing, but a very good one by Wenger before he left. Vlasic, really impressed with him for the future. Really enjoyed having him in this save. And also Maitland-Niles. Exactly the same ratings, same age. They're the future of this club. They could be absolutely amazing. We've got a lot of other youngsters as well, but those two really have earned a shot in the first team. And as I said before, I wouldn't be worried about losing some of these attacking midfielders. Sanchez 29, Ozil 29, Götze maybe replace him 25, Isco's 26, replace him in a couple of years. When you look at people like Vlasic, easy enough to do. When you look at what Pogba did and how he wasn't really the force we wanted him to be, Maitland-Niles probably should have played more. Ramsey, great player, did well, expected big things, and he delivered. Same with Ozil. Mario Götze, a little bit disappointing, but again, a solid player. You know what you're getting. Ødegaard, like I say, phenomenal player, and really, really stepped up. A bit ahead of Vlasic, but them two could run this midfield for a long time, especially looking a little further up to Ante Coric. I think those three would be deadly in my formation, especially with some of those good youngsters coming off the bench to help them out and rotate. We got about 6 or 7 of those youngsters, so if only, say, a third of those made it, we've got 2 that could have been on the bench behind Coric, Ødegaard and Vlasic. Scary. That could be scary. Like I said, Isco was a good buy. Probably didn't need him. A little bit more depth and able to rotate, but it didn't pay off the way I wanted it. I really was looking for him to lead the line for us and become a huge player, and it just didn't get there. Same really with Pogba. So those two, the Tielemans buys, I think are bad buys overall. Great players, but probably bad buys. The Kuki deal was bad as well. He's coming up. We've looked at Coric a little bit. Donnarumma, fantastic. Threw him in at the deep end. A season too early, probably. Should have gone with a better goalie right now and kept Donnarumma for cup games and, just feed him a little bit towards the end of the season if we had the title set up. Between him and Mamana in defence a year too soon, I really don't think that we give the rest of the team a stable enough base to work from. Kind of handicapped ourselves at the back this season, and in retrospect, that's totally my mistake as well. Still, I think he played fairly well over the course of the season, 50 games. It's great, and he's only getting better. One day he might well be the best goalie in the game, so, blooding the youngsters early is always good, but key positions such as, goalkeeper, maybe wait until they're definitely ready. So, maybe my fault there. Kuki, bad buy, bought for potential, had to use him this season a bit too much. Really wanted another attacking midfield option and or striker option. I mean, looking at his stats, I fully believe he'll come good. That potential, those good stats there, anticipation, decision-making, off the ball, vision, dribbling, technique, acceleration, agility. Highly mobile, highly focused, able to get into good positions, away from people, in space, in that attacking third. He's a can't-miss prospect, but this season was just too much too early for him. And that's a shame. And we're going to skip over Alexis Sanchez for now. My big money buy, Paul Pogba. I'm not going to say it backfired because 7.44 is respectable. And, you know, he did a little bit. But 1 goal and 3 assists from Pogba in 37 games. Under a 7.5 average rating. I'm not impressed by that. He is one of the best, midfielders in this game. He's one of the best players in this game. Outside of people like Ronaldo or Messi, Pogba would probably lead most people's list for best player in Football Manager. But his attitude wasn't right. We didn't find his right position. The fit with the team wasn't good. And I took Fred, a piece who worked really, really well last year with Ramsey. I took him out of the team to fit Pogba. And again, that's another mistake that has cost us. And again, that's on me. So I wouldn't buy Pogba again. I was just blinded by the money we had to spend and the chance to have him in the side. But that's my fault. Player of the season, captain Alexis Sanchez, 34 goals in 40 games. If we could have got Luis Enrique up that same kind of goals, then we would have been flying. Like those two players together, if they were a goal a game almost between them, as Enrique has proved in my other saves he can do, I think we'd have been better off. A little bit less production from Enrique, a lot less from Lukaku, and like I say, nothing else really at all. And it just felt like Alexis Sanchez put the club on his back and this team this season on his back and didn't get rewarded enough for it. So can't fault him. Average ratings over the season, of course. Sanchez, #1 player of the season. Vlasic played too few games but showed potential. Same with Tielemans, but we just don't need him. He's a useless player in this current setup. There is no way into the team for him right now. And there's such a good class of midfielders coming up in the under-21s, which means he really wouldn't make it. Bellerin, though, legit second best player at this club this season. So really happy with those two players, Sanchez and Bellerin. You know, Enrique played well apart from that bad stretch which really lost us the title. I'm being harsh on him, I know, but he's the striker, he's the focal point. He needs to produce in those big games, and I just felt that's where he struggled and nobody else could come rescue him. So it's the way it was, unfortunately. Again, Maitland-Niles, not many games, but we've got 3 good youngsters there. 3 good midfielders coming through with great ratings for the limited games they played. And then we've got Enrique, Bellerin and Sanchez, absolutely fantastic. You know, Isco, Ozil, not too bad. Ricardo and Martin Odegaard, not too bad. Fred, we should have used more. You know, really, when you're looking at it. Down the bottom of the list here, you know, Amos, Strootman, Cucci, Donnarumma too early, Mamana too early, Koric, too much pressure on Laporte, Pogba should be better than that, and then we're above 7.5, so I think that's all that needs to be said, really. That's the Arsenal save. It's done and dusted, and our Catania save's also done and dusted, so this is the end of Football Manager 2016 on the channel. 2017 is not a game I own. It is a game I'm looking at, and when finances clear up, maybe we'll get a save or two up on that. But for now, thanks for watching Football Manager. I hope you've enjoyed these series. I hope you've enjoyed this one in particular. I think we've had some great highs and only a few small lows. But if you have enjoyed, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought of the series in the comment section below. You know, subscribe to the channel. Got other great content. We've got a giveaway coming up this weekend. Keep an eye out on Twitter and this channel for a video and an announcement of what that giveaway is, what game it's going to be, how many copies, etc., how to enter. So keep an eye out for that. At Chris Orme on Twitter. Go follow me there to keep an eye on everything. But yeah, guys, thanks very much for watching. As I say, I hope you've enjoyed. I've enjoyed recording this for you. Thanks for being a part of the journey. And I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.